Welcome back to Helena, Montana. We're getting ready to start our second leg. We're traveling across the northern states to the East Coast from the West Coast, specifically from Oregon. That's where I live. And then we're going to be heading down to Florida, and then from Florida across the southern states to California, and then California back up to Oregon. So an all-round kind of skipping the middle states for now tour. And this is our second leg. We're, as I said, in Helena, Montana. We're going to be going to Aberdeen, South Dakota. I chose that because it's a little bit shorter than the first leg, so I wouldn't go 3 hours. Hopefully I'll be able to get this done within 2. That being said, I'm going to hurry up and get going here, and we'll just start traveling. The next leg is going to be from South Dakota, and I'm not sure if I can get all the way. I don't think I can get all the way to the East Coast without a 3 or 4 hour flight. So we'll pick another place to stop off from South Dakota. I might just go down to Chicago. We'll see how that goes. I'll have to look at the map and study it a little bit. In the meantime, let's get this thing started and on the road. Again, we have no passengers. We are flying the Beechcraft Caravan. And let's get this thing going here. First of all, we're going to start the starter up. And then, you know what we need to do? We need to put some fuel on. I already filled the tanks with fuel. And so we're just ready to start it up and take off. So, again, let's get back here. Turn the starter on. We're going to turn batteries on. Going to give it a fuel boost to start. Standby power. We're going to leave this to on. We're going to turn on the 2 buses and see if we can start this thing. All right, we got her started. And I'm going to go ahead and enter the flight plan. It's going to be a direct flight. We're going to go from here directly to South Dakota. So let's just hit the direct button here. We're manually take off, manually land, all that kind of good stuff. All right, so enter the keyboard. All right, we're looking at about 571 miles on this leg. A little bit shorter than the last one. The last one was almost 900 something. Say Aberdeen is KABR. Aberdeen, South Dakota, Aberdeen Regional. We are going to enter that and activate it. That's all we need to do. It's just a direct flight. And then we're ready to take off pretty much. There's no fanfare or anything like that. We do need to turn our lights on. And let's see. I'm going to wait till I get in the air to turn the PTOTs on. So let's see. I think I got everything here. All the lights are on. There's nobody home. With this started, we can close the starter. We can, let's see, we need to take the boost off. Whoops. Fuel boost off. And I think that's all I need to do. If I missed something, I did. I'm kind of in a hurry, so. All right, lights on for safety. It's actually noon, but we've got some rain clouds, so it's a little dark. And I didn't do a pushback because I think I can make it by this guy without hitting him. Whoa, right over his head. So, I thought about changing planes, but I didn't. Last night I was flying a couple other planes. I was looking at the Baron. The Baron's a little bit bigger than this, and the only reason I was looking at it is because it is a little bit bigger. It's got 2 engines, and it can fly farther. But then I got to thinking, maybe I don't want to fly farther because it makes the flights too long. So I decided to go ahead and stick with the Caravan here. I do need to figure out which way I'm going here. Oh, yeah, we didn't do some things. Let's change that to that, and then before I get to the runway, I'm going to stop because I haven't set the altitude or anything like that. So again, I'm kind of in a hurry. I want to get up in the air. I want to get going. We might run into some bad weather, but I do need to find a runway. So let me take a look at here, which way we're going. Okay, this is what we're looking at. So I'm going to get on this runway here, I think. Which is runway 9. Okay. We can do that. Now, I'm not in a big enough hurry that I'm going to race down the runway here. That's pretty unrealistic. You're not going to find a plane doing 50, 60 miles an hour trying to get to a runway. So I'm going to take it easy, just like I always would. And we'll just enjoy the flight. I don't know about the weather. I haven't checked. It's going to be a big surprise. I haven't checked the weather. And that's not something you should do. You should always check the weather. You always need to know what you're flying into, or have a pretty good idea anyway. Whoa, that changed. I have noticed that before, that the clouds will do a drastic change unrealistically. I don't know why. It happens sometimes. It is still dark for noon, I'll tell you. So I'm gonna probably take off and at a lower altitude. I'll probably take off at about 6,000 feet, and then depending what I find up in the clouds, climb to try to get over any weather. But I want to get a good start first before I get too worried about altitude. All right, so I'm going to stop right here, and we'll go inside and set our altitude. All righty. All right, so let's set our altitude here. We're going to go up, like I say, to about 6,000. Oh, before I do, I need to set the barometer. That'll make a difference. Wow, look at the difference it made in the altitude. Interesting. So we're sitting at 3,880 on the ground. So let's let's kick it a little bit higher. I'm going to kick it to 8,000. All right, yeah, we'll do that. All right. Sit up in the seat so I can see what I'm doing. I'm a short little guy. I don't know if 5'7" is considered short. It used to be average. Of course, you get older, you start shrinking. So they say. Say goodbye to Helena, Montana. I always kind of liked Montana as a state. Kind of a nice state. All right, now before I start, I don't think I need flaps, but I am going to put some on. Just looking here. Double checking things that I maybe should have done that I didn't. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to drop a flap. And here we go. Oh, there's another plane going by. All right, and off we go. And I'm not sure if let me put the flight director on. I should have done that first. And we're going to climb to 8,000. We're at 4,000 already. Let me pull these things out here. So I can see what's going on. All right, we're up to 5,000. Wow, there was some bad weather. It looks like it's behind us. Well, actually, there's a little in front of us as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and raise the flap. And again, like the other leg, it's pretty much a straight shot. I just did a direct out to South Dakota. And let me just double check. All right, so I'm looking at my throttle here. I don't want to I can kick it up a little bit. There we go. Don't want to overdo it on the throttle. Sit up so I can see a little bit more. We're coming up to our 8,000. I think I can leave it here. The weather doesn't look too bad. I'm not in the middle of clouds, so we can clearly see. It's a manual flight pretty much all the way, so I want to be able to see. I don't want to go too high, because then, if I'm above the clouds, I can't see the ground. This is high enough that I'm not in any danger. So we'll pop out here so we can see some country. See a little bit of Montana. Big sky country. So, in between this trip, I'm going to be making other flights. I still want to do some commercial flights, and I am practicing with other airplanes. Like I said yesterday, I flew a Baron for a while. It's not as easy to fly as this ship. The Baron takes a little bit more handling. This one's a little bit more stable. The Baron is not. You kind of have to fly it. It moves around on you, so you got to be careful. It's like if I am coming into an airport and I have to kind of turn a little bit to line up with the runway, it's harder. It overcorrects, it undercorrects. You've got to constantly kind of move the stick, which means your plane is kind of moving with it. With this one, I can kind of slowly move into the turn, and it just slowly turns. It doesn't fight you. The Baron fights you a little bit, so you're constantly correcting that stick, the flight stick. It's just harder to fly. You've got two engines, which takes a little bit of getting used to, power-wise. A couple of times I made a short flight from Portland, Oregon to where I live on the coast, and I almost stalled a couple of times. And I attribute it to the fact that with the two engines, I wasn't used to flying and controlling the power of two engines. It's kind of hard to explain, but I had a little bit of a tough time with it. So it'll take a little bit more practice flying that one. Then there's another one called the King, I think, and it's a little bigger yet. As a matter of fact, the Baron, you can fly up to like 25,000 feet or higher, something like that. With the King, which is just a little bit bigger than that. So we're talking about this Caravan here versus one that's a little bit bigger, that is the Baron, that has two engines, and then one bigger than that has two engines. But the King can go up to 35,000 feet, just like the big boys. All right, so hey, we still got snow in Montana. Look at that. Elk Meadows. Okay, we're coming to a little bit of a climb here. I'm going to take it up because I don't want to take any chances on that. So we're going to go to the vertical here, and we're going to go. Well, wait a minute. Before we do that, let's change the altitude. I'm going to go up to 12 because I don't want any trouble getting over that hill. Okay, and then vertical speed, and we're going to go up about like that. And I'm running into some turbulence up here. I just got knocked off my course while I was dinking around. I was on a straight course and I hit some turbulence and it knocked me off. As you notice, when I came back on, I was kind of leaning towards the left there. Barometer changed tiny little bit. 29.62 to 29.64. I'm going to constantly watch that because I am flying over country that's changing, so I want to make sure that is correct for me. Got a little airport off to the right here. I don't know what it is. There's a plane flying behind me, but it's about the same. It is. It's the same altitude as I am. Although I don't see it. Should be right over here somewhere. I'm a little bit over it. So I'm at 10,000. I can't see it. I see it on the map, but I don't see it in the air. We're just a little shy of 100 knots on the speed. It's another ranch. A lot of people flying have ranches. I can understand that. I knew some farmers back in the Yakima Valley that had planes. Usually if it's a ranch like, well, in Montana, some of the ranches are a little bit away from, civilization. It's farmland, All right, here's what our flight looks like. The yellow plane is us. There's that other plane that I was talking about there. And we left Helena just a few minutes ago, and we're doing a straight route to Aberdeen, South Dakota, 571 nautical miles, and there's our destination here at Aberdeen. I've never heard of Aberdeen, South Dakota. I've not had anything to do with South Dakota. There's Comstock to the north of that. Okay, it's switched my view here because it's following me. It wants to center my plane in the middle of the map, and that's okay. That's what I have it set up to do. But you can see that I planned on going all the way to the Great Lakes. But then I thought, well, that's going to be at least 3.5, 4 hours. So I decided not to. So from here, on the next leg, I'm thinking about coming down a little bit into here, down in here, and that would put us at Chicago area, and then from there to try to head towards New York. Now, I think that's going to be a little bit farther than I'm thinking, so I might have to take 4 legs to get to the East Coast, and I don't know if I have to go all the way to New York. I might come in there a little bit. We'll see. We shall see. All right, we're at 12,000 feet. quite sure if we're going over Yellowstone. Let me see here. Are we flying over Yellowstone? Look at this map. Town. No, we're not anywhere close to. Well, we are, but not really. Yellowstone, in actuality, is maybe a couple hundred miles below us, south of us. Not below us, but south of us. So no, we're not going over Yellowstone. Hey, we got some clear skies, though. Looking pretty out here. The sunshine. Gotta love that. White Sulphur Springs. Ranger Station. Heliport. They got a heliport there. That's a ranger station. It's pretty rugged country, so you would imagine they might have a heliport to do rescues and such. And we got some farmland. Look at that snaky river. Whoa, look at that. Can't make up his mind where it's going to go. Wow, there's one spot up there that it goes in a complete upsy-downsy. I just love seeing farmland. I don't know why. Yeah, I just don't know why. I've always considered the life as a farmer or farm land or farm country as being a very good lifestyle. If you want to be independent, if you want to work hard, if you want to raise a family, I can't think of a better place to do it than out in the country, on a farm. Okay, so there's White Sulphur Springs, right below us there. Nice little community, still under some snow. Yeah, and again, I've got live weather on today, so although it's 7 o'clock at night for me, and I have reduced the time back to noon when I took off Helena, but it's still kind of current weather. One lonely crop circle down there, all whited out. This is interesting terrain because I don't know if, I guess you consider this a mountain range. It looks pretty flat for a mountain range, but gentle slopes, I guess. Although that's just what it looks like from a height. I suppose if you were down there, it wouldn't look so gentle. The slope. Got some rain in the distance there, or snow, probably rain. Pretty clouds. Beautiful country. And look, see what we got coming. I'm now in unexplored territory for me. I've never been farther than Helena, Montana. As I had said in a previous recording, that my brother used to live in Helena, and I used to travel to Helena in the summertime to work in the wheat country. So I spent some time in Helena, Montana. I've been to Missoula. I told about a flight that I took there when I worked for Rainier Bank. That was kind of frightening. It was comical along with being scary. But yeah, I always liked Helena. It was a pretty place. But I haven't been any further east than that. So this uncharted territory for me. Russian Flat to the left. Some kind of a airstrip. And I'm going to take this opportunity, I think we're okay, to run out and start some tea water. I'll be right back. Alrighty, I am back. Got some tea water going. Another 5 or 6 minutes, I'll go and brew me a cup. In the meantime, I couldn't figure out why I couldn't see the map that I'm looking at, and I took my glasses off. Thought maybe my eyes were tired. I was going to rub my eyes, and I looked down at my glasses, and they're so darn dirty, I'm surprised I can see anything. Got myself some cleaner, and I'm going to spritz them. See if it makes a difference. I noticed I didn't crash while I was gone. Put my glasses on before I see what we've flown over. Again, I'm in uncharted territory, so I have no idea where we're at or where we're going to be or what we're going to see. It's an adventure. And let's just double check. Okay, we're doing okay. It looks like it's flattening out. I can probably drop down a little bit. That way we can keep an eye on the ground in case there's something interesting to see. Let me bring us down a little bit. I'm going to bring us down to 8. I might take it back up, but right now, bring us down to 8. Gently down. Check the barometer. Oh yeah, the barometer dropped a little bit from the 29.84 to 29.73. Wheatland Company. Is that a road down there? Nice little pond or a lake down there. So we're coming out of snow country. That's good. We're running into a cloud blanket. I don't know. Does that go all the way to the ground? That might not be. What's that? There it is. Oh, I was over speeding. I cut the throttle back a little bit. Okay, I see it now. I'll tell you why I was confused. I have an alarm for my blood sugars, and it's been going off lately. And I thought that's what I was hearing. I've got sound deadening headphones on, so extraneous noises are very faint for me, and I heard that, and I thought, wow, is that my alarm? But it wasn't. Okay, so yeah, boy, we're at 10,000 feet. Let's see. I don't think that cloud goes all the way to the ground, so I might go down under it. We're not there yet. I've got it set at 8,000. We're at 9. So I might bring her down. Let's bring it down to 6,000. I think I'm safe at 6,000. I think we'll be okay. I wonder why they call it Wheatland. Is that Wheatland County or Wheatland Company? I bet it's a company. Yeah. Okay, we're just at the edge of going too fast, so I'm going to drop the throttle back just a little bit more. this altitude because I can't see the ground now. Let's check the barometer. Well, hoopla. If I can't get below this cloud safely, then I'm going to go back up over it. You shouldn't be flying through clouds like this. Lammers, is that, that's interesting. So, I'm trying to get down to 6,000 to see if I can get under the cloud bank. We are at 7,600. I want to see, but I also want to be safe. Flying in a cloud bank is not safe. Flying too close to the ground is not safe. So when I get down to 6, if I can't see the ground, I'm going to go back up. I can kind of see the ground, but not good enough to have good judgment. But I'm not down to 6 yet. I got another 1,000 feet to go. I'm worried about the altitude because if you remember when we took off from Helena, we were already over 3,000 feet. So if I'm at 6, how close am I to the ground? Yeah, I'm pretty low. This is kind of scary. I think I'm okay unless I run into a bunch of kids flying a kite. They could probably reach me. I'm pretty low. And with the clouds the way they are, I really can't see anything either. So there's no point in taking the chance of being this low if I can't even see the scenery. Because, here's the other problem. I might still have a hill or two in front of me. All right, I'm not going to take the chance. I'm going to go back up. Oh, look at that. I flew out of it. Okay, let's stop that then. I'll let it go a little bit higher. Oh, my God. Okay, let's... up, down, up, down. Let's drop it down to, say, 7, 8 maybe. I'll drop it to 8. Yeah, that'll be about right. We're at 7.2 now. Now that I can see a little bit, I don't see any big mountains in front of us. It's kind of peaky down below us, but not too bad. We don't have any company on us now this time, though. All right, we're reaching 8,000, 7,900. Reaching 8. Our speed's coming down. All right, we're at 8,000. And my RPMs are down a little bit. I can kick the throttle up just a tiny hair. Wow, that's an interesting looking cloud formation. Mount Everest in cloud form. I've always been fascinated by clouds. As a child, I used to lay out and watch the clouds and see what I could see in them. Look, there's a bunny, there's a dog, there's a horse over there. It's amazing what your mind will do when it's looking at things and how your mind fills it in for you. That's one of the reasons why the eyewitness is not very reliable as people think. They think, if you got circumstantial evidence, but an eyewitness is better. Not necessarily. You could have 5 people walking down the street, have something dramatic happen in front of them, and have all 5 of them give a description. One will say the guy's got a beard, one will say no, he didn't. One will say he was 6 foot tall, somebody else will say no, he's only 5'7". It's amazing how people see different things. If the person saw that the perpetrator was cast in shadow, the shadow might make them think that he had a beard, and so the brain fills that in. Just little things like that. All right, now that I'm out of the cloud bank, and before I get into another one, I'm going to go check my tea water. Be right back. All right, I'm back. And if you heard me set a timer for 6 minutes with Alexa, I know you're not supposed to brew your tea that long. I guess there's different teas you brew at different times. I used to know some of that, but I like it. I like my tea strong and dark. So I let it steep longer than most people do. I think I'm trying to think what tea. I used to get teas from, well, I still do, from England, Whittard's. I used to get my tea there. As I said, I still do. I like a tea called Russian Caravan. It's like an afternoon tea. And, of course, English breakfast. I get quite a bit of that. But that square patch right there is a little interesting. So is that one. I mean, that one obviously just had some crops off of it. This one looks like, why is it so dark green? Anyway, you used to get instructions. And so I would look at them and they'd say, well, you steep this in what temperature of water, all kinds of stuff. You steep this for 3 minutes or whatever. I didn't ever follow them because, again, I don't like weak tea. It's got to be strong. It's got to be dark. I want some flavor. I don't have a good sense of smell, and my sense of taste is such that I like food that has more flavor. Now, what in the world? That road, if that's a road, it goes straight as an arrow till it gets to the, and then it goes off. I wonder why. That's weird looking. Anyway, I've always said, over the years, people ask me, what are you talking about, you need, on your sense of smell? If you, Carol and I'd be walking down the street, and she'll say, oh my God, smell those roses or whatever. And I'll say, I don't smell anything. And so even if there's a flower on the table, I have to stick it up my nose before I can really, smell the scent of it. On the other hand, your sense of taste, I think, kind of goes with that, because it's like somebody's been bombing out here. Your sense of smell kind of goes along with that, because if you have a cold and you have a stuffy nose, does your food taste right to you, or does it taste off a little bit? To me, I think because I have a lower sense of smell, I don't know how you would state that I need a little bit more spice in my food to have any kind of flavor. A lot of things that you eat, I don't, it's like it's flavorless to me. I need to put spices, salts, peppers. Because I'm supposed to hold back on the salts nowadays, I go overboard on the pepper. Now, I don't think I do, but other people do. Other people see me, like, let's say you go to a restaurant and they bring a salad and the guy says, would you like some pepper, some fresh ground pepper? Yeah, I do. And he starts to do it, and he goes dink, dink, and then starts to walk away and well, nope, more. Dink, dink, more. Dink, dink, more. And he just looks at me like, good Lord, it's black, covered with pepper. And yeah, so I like it. So pepper and other spices are my new salt, because I'm, supposed to cut back on salt. Now, it's not like I sat at the dining room table with a salt lick in the middle of the table, but I did kind of go overboard on salt when I was younger. What is down there? They got a blue, they like blue roof, I guess. Looks like buildings with blue roofs. Now, if this is farm country, it's a rugged farm country. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. I don't know where we're at. State-wise, I think we're still in Montana. Trying to see if these maps have any kind of a county or a state border. I can see the Canadian border pretty clear. All right, what's the weather look like here? Roundup. We're heading up to Roundup. Yeah, let's see. Now, if that's... Go back and look at Idaho. And see if I can see a state line somehow. You really can't on this map. It's not really that kind of a map. It's an air... Basically, this map is an air traffic map because mainly what you see most are airports. So, and we're about a fourth of the way on our trip. I am now going to go get my tea because I said I liked it dark and strong, but it's already been 6 minutes, so I will be right back. Hopefully I can get back before we hit Roundup. Hey, I made it back. There's Roundup. It's got an airport and a little city. Look at that. Roundup where, though? What state are we in? I'll have to look that up. Roundup. I've never heard of it. I bet it's still in Montana. Sounds like a Montana town, doesn't it? Roundup. Let me look that up. Uh-oh, I goofed that one up. Try that again. Look at the rivers, they're so snaky in this place. That looks like a race track below us. Well, that didn't work very good. I typed Roundup in and all I got was weed killer. All right, we're still in Montana. Roundup, Montana. What do we know about Roundup, Montana? It's a city and the county seat of Musselshell County, Montana. Population of 1,742 in the 2020 census. So it's just a small little place back there. Again, interesting country, pretty rugged. Hey, the weather's straightening up for us, isn't it? Now, what is that down there? Is that a big freeway? Highway? It is a highway. If I can see it this well from up here, it must be a pretty good size. Double lane highway, who knows? All right. Okay, so Musselshell is a little bit beyond halfway across Montana. Now, Montana, in the northwest of Montana, sticks out a little bit more west than the rest of the state. So, but its Musselshell's about halfway across the middle. So we should be coming to Rosebud. These are the counties. Leaving Musselshell, entering Rosebud. Telling you, I think the thing I like the most about Flight Sim, now that I've actually been able to play it, it's so sad. I've wasted all those years because I've actually owned this game in several different iterations over the years since the 80s, and I never was able to play it because I couldn't wrap my mind around what it took to fly a plane. I just couldn't do it. I kept taking a plane up and I'd crash, and it would be frustrating. I couldn't keep it in the air. I didn't know what any of the instruments did or why. And it just was so frustrating that I just couldn't play it long enough to get any good at it. And I just got determined this time and said, look, I'm going to do it. And I think the thing that makes me the happiest, or that I get the most satisfaction in, is seeing what the country looks like from up here. Not just the USA, but Great Britain, Scotland, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia. We just live on a beautiful planet. Okay, up ahead and off to the right in Rosebud County, in Treasure County, there's a little town called Hysham. Forsyth, Montana, that sounds familiar. There's Miles City in Custer County. And then in Fallon County, there's a town called Baker, Montana. That sounds familiar. There is a Baker in Oregon as well. It's in the same location on the map. The Baker in Oregon is on the east side of the state, almost to the border, and Baker in Montana is almost the same. Amazing. Amazing. So I think we might be heading a little bit south, because we're heading for South Dakota, and South Dakota is actually south of Roundup. If you looked at the map going straight east to west, so I must be making kind of a curve into South Dakota a little bit. I meant to go to North Dakota on the very first leg that I did, and I'm glad I didn't. That first leg was already 3 hours of a flight. Is that a crop circle thing under us? Is that what that is? If it is, that's pretty rugged farmland. Wow. Pretty rugged looking. Another snaky river. It looks like broccoli down there. Now, in the flights that you've taken with me, and looking at the land below us, you'll see what I mean when I tell people that over 50% of the United States is uninhabited. If you look at all the forests and the mountains and land, whether you don't see a house for 100 miles, you'll understand what I'm saying. The USA is so big that there's so much vastness of forests and hills and mountains that nobody lives in. It's quite amazing. And of course, it's all government land. The government pretty much takes anything, that wasn't purchased by regular people, citizens. Interesting looking shape of the field down there. Yeah, beautiful day for a flight. I'm just sitting up here enjoying a nice cup of hot tea. Of course, it is evening. It's almost 8 o'clock for me. I had a busy day today. I did have a live stream today, and also had meetings with plumbers, and Addie has been home doing school over correspondence for the last couple months. So that's kept me busy, making sure that she's getting her schoolwork done and trying to help where I can. So I had a busy day, so it's kind of nice here, just sit back in an evening, sitting in my little studio with no lights on, on a beautiful flight. Now, don't think I'm sitting in the dark, even though I don't have any lights on. I've got 4 computer monitors cranking out quite a bit of light. Yeah, I've got 3 27-inch monitors, and I got one 32-inch curved monitor that I actually have sitting right in front of me that I'm flying on. I debated when I bought that curved monitor. I don't know. I don't really know why the monitor's curved. I've never studied that. I bought it because the stats on the monitor matched my computer, so I'm able to take full advantage of 4K and the stats on it. And it was cheaper than, it was a pretty good price. It was cheaper than some of the other ones I was looking at. So, and I have enjoyed the brand name. It's a Samsung. Actually, 3 of my monitors are Samsungs. One I got at a very good price is a Hewlett-Packard, and it's probably the weakest of the 4. It is a good monitor, don't get me wrong, but it's not as good, and the color palette on it is different. With the 3 Samsungs, it's a pretty matched color palette. So the Hewlett-Packard is more of the reds and yellows, where the Samsungs are more of the blues and greens. And to me, the blues and greens are brighter. They're a little harsher. So when I had my photography studio, I would shoot film. We didn't have digital back then, and so I shot a lot of film, and I used Fuji and Kodak. And the difference between the two is the base. The base colors on Fuji are greens and blues, and then the base on Kodak is yellows and reds. Now, the difference between those are, if I was shooting, say, an indoor wedding or anniversary or party of some kind indoors, I would use the Kodak because the yellows and the reds are softer, more romantic colors. And the Fuji I would use if I was shooting outdoors, like if I was shooting sports or any kind of outdoor event, I would use Fuji because the blues and greens are brighter. And of course, outside you got blue sky and green, grass. So anytime you're shooting outside, you are shooting a lot of blue and green. And so I would use the Fuji for that purpose. I don't know if you've noticed, but since we left that roundup area, we haven't seen a lot of little towns. There's Hysham that I talked about earlier, which means that I am in right now I'm in Treasure County. Doesn't that make you wonder how they name these places? South of Treasure is Bighorn County. We got Billings and Hardin, Yellowstone County. It looks like Billings is actually in Yellowstone County. And then next up we'll be coming into Forsyth, Rosebud County, a little town called Forsyth. And at that point, we'll be looking for Miles City and Baker. And Miles City is in Custer County. I wondered if that's named after our historical general, Custer. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Throughout history, there are people that, in looking back in hindsight, a lot of people want to paint as evil or as bad people. Everybody has their own personality and that kind of thing. And I think if you actually, hindsight, looking back like that, isn't necessarily the best way to view things, in my opinion, because people tend to want to paint everything in the time that they're in, without regard to what it was actually like back then, as far as life, the world, politics, whatever you want to talk about. Things were different. It was different times. People weren't. Now here's the interesting thing. When people look back at history and they claim that, well, people were not as educated, I would tend to disagree in that statement, in the fact that if you go back and read some of the things that are written, back in history, they used a vocabulary many times larger than the vocabulary that we use today as just regular individuals. So I would venture to say, are we more educated? I'm not entirely sure that we are. But my first point was, though, that if you tend to go back and look at some things that happened historically and paint somebody as being evil or bad because of something that they did, if you really were to go back and take the time to study what life was like then and what values people put on certain things, a lot of things that were historical came from strong individuals. And strong individuals in some of those cases were exactly what we needed to advance, our civilization, whatever it took. For example, can you imagine covering this country from the East Coast to the West Coast with no civilization anywhere if you were traveling with Lewis and Clark and mapping the United States and surveying and discovering? Can you imagine how hard that life was? See that river that's right over here next to us? That's not a large river, but imagine if that was the Columbia River. And imagine what the Columbia River, and I've already told you there are places in Oregon and Washington where Columbia River is over 5 miles wide. Many places. Columbia's a big river. Can you imagine trying to cross it when there was no bridges, there was no civilization? The forests were thick, animals, all kinds of, bad weather. Can you just imagine what it would be like to travel like that in those times? Where now you get to the river and you just go to the nearest bridge and cross over. It would be unbelievably hard. I think the majority of people that live today would not survive in those times. And there were a lot of people that didn't survive that tried to live through those times. It was harsh. Again, imagine you're a farmer, and this is before electricity. You know, they say they got up at dawn and went to bed at dusk, and basically is because of the light. When the sun came up, they could see. When the sun went down, they couldn't. And go through a power outage in your home without having an electric lamp or a kerosene lamp, or not necessarily kerosene, but a propane lamp. Try to go through your life with just a candle and a candle holder and see how much you can get done. It's basically people, they went to bed, they got up early, they went to bed early. Rugged life. It was a rugged life. Man, I just can't believe there's just no civilization around here. Literally, it's just amazing. And you notice there is some farmland, but not a lot. It's greenish over here and bluish over there. I wonder what the difference is. Well, I was a little worried I was going to run into some weather, but so far it's been beautiful. Oh, I never thought about fuel. I better look. Now, I'm not worried because we went over 900 miles in the first leg, and I had plenty of fuel. We're only going 570 in this one. So, let's see here. I guess I could have checked that from outside, but weights and measures here. Oh, yeah, 70%. We've used 30%. 70, 80, 90. Alrighty then. Sweet. All the instruments are looking good. As you know, I pull these two screens out and put them on my other computer, and I've showed you how I do that, so that I can see what's going on with my other computer when I'm outdoors. And then, of course, that is a copy of this one for the co-pilot. Let me check something here. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not real sure on some of the propeller planes. I've never flown with it in max necessarily. I always kind of leave it right in the center for some reason. And I leave the trim about in the center. I don't know if that's right or wrong. I'm happy with the speed I'm getting. I'm not in any hurry. Is that a freeway down there? And a snaky river. Oh, there's some farmland. My goodness. We flew over it and I didn't even know. And there's some more over there. And over here. And over here. Pretty much desert over there, though. Here you see the meaning of the state motto, Montana, Big Sky Country. If you look, all you can see is sky. If you were on the ground, it would be sky all around. That's why they call this the Big Sky Country. I mean, literally, without those mountains and hills, you can see for miles and miles and miles. Anything you see is either, is horizon, basically. What do we got there? Tillett Field. Okay, so it's a little airport. What's the town, though? What is Tillett? I'm going to have to look at both maps now. Let's see where we're at. Sheridan is south of us, quite a ways. I've heard of Sheridan. So yeah, we're Frontier. There's a Frontier plane just flew over the top of me. Really, it would have been it's heading for this airport right here, but I don't see it. What am I flying? 8,000. It's flying about 7,000, so it's 1,000 feet below us. Which reminds me, I better check the barometer again. We're at 2975, and I just hit it. We're at 2982 now, so our barometer went from 8,000 to 8,040 feet. So the barometer changed me 40 feet by just correcting the barometer. And that kind of shows what I'm talking about. If you're coming into an airport and you haven't checked your barometer local, you could be 40 feet off or more depending on the barometer change. So it's important to check that barometer because that's what determines your altitude. Scientifically, I don't know how that works, but basics are that the air pressure or the barometer changes from ground, to space, and the higher you go, the barometer changes, and that's what determines your altitude. How, I don't know, scientifically. And of course, I know that the higher you go, the thinner the air is, which would probably have something to do with it. There's a lot more farmland. Notice that the farmland is around the river. Gotta have water. And if you've watched any of the videos from the people that we know that farm in Montana, one of the things they struggle with is water because they don't have any. If you look at the Welkers farms, you don't see big sprinklers. They don't have water. They have to depend on, nature to provide water. In the Yakima Valley, the valley's a large valley, but it's not terribly large. And with two canals that take the runoff water from the mountain range. So the mountain, when the snow melts, the water that comes off the mountain goes into reservoirs, man-made reservoirs with dams on them, if you will. And then in the summertime, they've stored the water from the winter runoff. In the spring, the snow melts, the runoff comes down, it fills up the reservoirs, and then that during the summer months, that water is let out of the reservoirs to come down, and it comes down to two major man-made canals that go the length of the valleys, and that's what the farmers, that's where they get their water to farm, to grow. And it's amazing how much farmland they can farm with that water. They're always worried more about snow than they are rain during the year, because the majority of their water comes from the snow runoff from the mountains. So they watch that and they're interested in whether there's snow on the mountains or not. So when they hear that the skiing is bad, they're worried about the farming year coming up. When they hear the skiing is wonderful, they know there's plenty of snow and might be a good year for crops. Skiing is a measurement for farmers' water. How about that? A barometer, if you will. I've got different liveries for this plane. I don't know. I always just left the brown and white. It's almost purple from a certain angle, isn't it? They have different color schemes. There's even one for Microsoft. Obviously, Microsoft made the game. Almost every plane has a Microsoft color scheme. They can keep it. Back to our county map. Let's see. I don't know where we're at. It's all farmland that follows that river. There's a little town over here, and that's about it. I haven't seen another little town. And again, over there, it's just barren. There's no life at all. There may or may not be farm over there. I don't know. As we mentioned before, the farming kind of follows this river that we're at. Whether there's rivers up there, I don't know. Again, I'm in uncharted country. I've never been this far. Which shouldn't amaze anybody. The size of the United States, very few people have seen every bit of it. Unless you're Lewis and Clark, and they didn't see everything. They went straight from one point to the next, east to west. The only thing that deviated them were mountains, because they had to find a way around them or over them. In most cases, they had to go over them because there's no way to go around the Cascades. Cascades go halfway across the United States. I'm going to come down a little more. We've got some beautiful weather, and we seem to be doing pretty good. I'm going to come down to 7,000, see if that makes any difference in what we can see. I'm so surprised at how happy I am that I'm doing better flying, because I get such enjoyment out of just sitting here, drinking a hot cup of tea, maybe glancing over at something on YouTube while I'm flying. Obviously, I can't do that while I'm recording. Well, I can, but I can't hear it because I've turned it on. It's going to come over my microphone. It's a pretty good size highway there. But yeah, it's so relaxing. It's so I don't know. I just am struck with awe at how beautiful the planet is, and I can't get enough of it. Frank Wiley Field. Now, where's that at? Wiley Field. Frank Wiley Field. There's a couple of little airfields over there. There's a VOR just to the north of us. That highway is US 12. Miles City is where Frank Wiley Field is. So over there's a city. I think you can barely see it right in there. Miles City. And just northeast of Frank Wiley is a little airstrip called Sunday Creek Airport, or Air Park. I should check to see what the difference between an airport and an air park is, if there is one. I think it's just size, maybe. So the Highway 12 takes off. We've been kind of following 12 for quite a distance, but just ahead of us here, it heads up north to Wiley Field area, and it takes off northeast. We're getting in. We're going to be flying over more no man land now because that freeway's taken off. Again, you want to find civilization, it's going to be near a freeway. Well, we lost our farmland, getting a little bit more rugged here. We are not quite halfway in our trip. Flying like this is relaxing in that, you know, once you get up in the air and you get your cruising altitude, and you're just kind of sitting here enjoying the view. It's a little bit different than the enjoyment I used to get from farming sim. I got a lot of the same kind of satisfaction from farm sim. I'd get home from work, I'd put on something to watch on Netflix or YouTube. I'd crank up my tractors and my combines, and I'd start farming. I'd get a harvest done before I went to bed, and believe it or not, it's just a game, but you had a little bit of satisfaction. Like, I wouldn't go to bed if I was close to being done with a harvest. I'd have to end that harvest. And once I did, I had the feeling like I had a good day's work. It's crazy, I know, because it's just a game, but I guess it's how you look at it in your mind. But it's kind of funny because I end up going in when I finished a flight and telling Carol, well, where'd you fly today? And I can actually say, well, I flew over, and the view I saw of such and such, and, you know, this one lake was so beautiful, and, you know, it's like I'd almost done it in real life, kind of. Crazy, huh? There's another one of them squirrely rivers and some farmland all around the river. Look how much greener it is in that path of that river. Now, there's a big field just over here to the east that may or may not be getting moisture from that river. Kind of getting a little bit excited about ordering a new PC. I've decided that I'm not going to build this one. I've built every computer I've ever owned, and I'm just not in the mood to do it anymore. I'll blame it on my age. I'm getting tired, and I'm getting unsure of myself, which might lead you to believe that maybe I should do it just to keep myself going in that respect, but I'm just lazy too. Every iteration of computer that I build, it's always more work to go and study all the parts and make sure that the PC you're building is built with the components that work well together. And of course, technology changes, and you start getting things that at one point you would look at CPUs and you had a choice of a half a dozen. Now all of a sudden you have choices in parts that range the gauntlet, and you have to make sure that what you're getting will work well with everything else. It's more work now than it used to be. It's more scary that you make a mistake and get a part that isn't going to be right for the PC, and so you don't get the full potential of what your PC should be doing. So now the secret is finding some place that you actually trust. And I look at it kind of like the way I pick doctors. You know, if I need to find a new specialist, I would go to the doctors that I'm already using and ask them, if you had to have this situation, where would you go? And, you know, I don't think a doctor's going to steer you wrong. You know, if they were talking about themselves, where would they go? They would go to see the best. I kind of do the same thing with computers. I search around and listen to people I trust. Well, where are we? Let's take a look. Alrighty. Oh boy. Kind of hard to say now. Because there's lack of anything to latch onto to tell me where I'm at. I don't see any airfields. We are really out in no man's land. If I had the land for an emergency, I think I'd be looking at one of those roads down there. Not over here. That looks pretty rugged. But that road down there looks halfway flat. That is another thing to consider. I've seen other people that have mentioned things like something that they look for when they're flying like this. They'll be looking for flat pieces of land in case of emergencies. You know, what would you do if something happened right now? might head over to this area that looks kind of flat. Where would you go if you had to go for an emergency landing? Gives you something to consider, something to, well, I shouldn't say laugh about, but you might want to think, well, that's kind of crazy, thinking about crashing. Well, no, I'm thinking about surviving. So I thought about being in an airplane, a commercial airplane. If something was going to go wrong, and I'd get on my knees and start praying to God, I think I'd be praying to God, not for my life, but for the pilot's life, because he's the one you're going to need to get down safe if you can. I could pray for my life, but my life isn't going to save me in an airplane like that. Now, see, if I had to, there's a nice flat spot over that way, which might be farmland. Might be the place to land. I really don't know where we're at right now. I really can't tell. Castleberry off to the right, but it's quite a bit east from us here. I think we're still in Montana. Okay, let's see what other kind of map we got here. Look at. Walmart.com. Got a laminated map, large detailed roads and highways. Walmart.com. Really? Alright, well, let's see what we can find. Okay, so we just left. Where did we just leave? The highway just took off Miles City. So we're heading towards Medicine Rocks. Really can't tell where we're at, and I'll tell you why. Because when I look at the map, I'm looking at a detailed map of roads and highways and towns and stuff. And I'm seeing absolutely nothing, because there is absolutely nothing. We are literally in no man's land. And you can see there, we've not seen any towns for a ways. Off in the distance we can see some airports, but we've not seen. That's an interesting road. I don't know where that one goes. But yes, we're right in the middle of no man's land. I can't see. There's no towns or anything to see. There's a little town of Volberg, but I can't see how close we are to it, because I've got nothing else to reference to. There's a little town called Powderville, but I think it's going to be south of where we're going. Maybe, maybe not. Ekalaka. Like I said, there's a forest called Medicine Rocks. A place called Capitol. There's Hammond. Now there's a Hammond right here where I live. A little town that's part of the town that I live in. It was an unincorporated town in the next little local town that I live in. Incorporated it, or what do they call that? Annexed. They annexed it into their government, their township. Well, I guess we'll just wait and see. There's no way for me to identify anything. Man, that's a dirty little... Is that water below us there? If it is, it's awful dirty looking. It kind of looks like coffee with a little cream in it. What is that? Sikorsky Ranch. We should be getting close to a little airfield called Sikorsky Ranch. We're still a ways away from it. It might be, I don't know. It might be that one over there, but it looks like it's more right in front of us. But I can't see it yet. There's all kinds of little planes flying around us. There's a Skyhawk to the southwest. A little bit further south and west is another Skyhawk. There's a TBM-9. I was going to look that up, and I haven't done it yet. There's two of those flying around. One directly south of us, but it's flying at 30,000 altitude. Both of them are. Whereas the little Skyhawks are flying at 3,000 and 4,000. So they're below me, actually. I don't know, I could go down a little bit, but I'm kind of comfortable where I'm at. What were we, about 7,000? Something like that. I know when you go down, you can see a little bit more below you if there's anything to see, but you can't really see as far, so that if I see something off in here I can turn and look at it, but if I'm lower I may or may not see anything that's over there. Well, I wish we'd fly over one of these little towns so I can at least find out on the map where we're at. I've got a road map up along with the airstrip map that I normally have. Interesting. Oh, what's that down there? What is that? Right down there. It looks like a bunch of little buildings all tucked up together. That's weird looking. Huh. I'm pretty sure that looks like a road of some kind. I had a little bit of turbulence there. Did you see my tail whip around? I never did look to see if they had put in that change where they were talking about putting a slider in for, well, maybe not a slider, but an on-off button for turbulence. And look, is that a town over there? If it is, there doesn't seem to be... Whoa. Well, that's kind of pretty. Let me zoom in a little. take a little snapshot here. Huh. Okay, there's that ranch I was telling you about. Boy, that's weird. I didn't see it before. Now it's just right there. Sikorsky Ranch. Are they raising Sikorskys? That looks kind of man-made down below us there. That looks like it's terraced. Yeah, and that isn't a town. I thought that might be a town, but it's just hills that are terraced naturally. Yeah, there's farmland down there. That's a farm right there. I think that's a building. Yeah, those are buildings down there. Well, now I've messed up. There we go. Yeah, there's barns and buildings. So it's a little farm. Rugged little farm. Strange how they've made these patches of land, farmland. Farming every inch they can easily, or maybe not so easily. I would bet there'd be a lot of rocks in the ground. There used to be so many rocks around farmland in some places that they would build a rock wall to around the farm, and they'd still be pulling rocks out every season. I keep thinking we're going to run into another little town, but my goodness, it's been very, it's actually kind of scary being out like this and having absolutely no signs of civilization. I mean, we did see that farm just now, but it's been a while since we've seen any kind of city or town. Even this is not a city or town, this is a farm. It's going to be interesting from a certain point here. Once we get through Dakotas, we're going to start coming into a little more populated areas, and it's going to be interesting to see the amount of population, civilization that there is on the East Coast. Yet we're still, because we're going to be up above it, we're still going to see lots of uninhabited areas, even though it's densely populated. And that was the bottom of my teacup. That was quite enjoyable. Tonight I had a pretty spicy tea. It's cinnamon, orange, and some other spices. It's a spiced tea from Seattle. There's Baker. Remember I mentioned Baker. So Baker is, let's see if I can find Baker. Oh, we're a little farther north than I thought. We should be flying right over Medicine Rocks, maybe, or a place called Ekalaka. So Baker's to the north of us, and there is Highway 12 as came back over from Roundup. At Roundup it went kind of north a little bit, and it came back down. So it's pretty much east to west, Highway 12. and it goes right through Baker. So we are close to the border. The border should be right up in here between Idaho and North Dakota. Baker, the highway that goes through Baker goes right into North Dakota. Where we're at, we're going to come out right at the border between North and South Dakota. Now remember, our destination is Aberdeen, South Dakota. So we'll be heading more into the southern state than the northern part. Look at the size of these fields. Pretty good sized fields here. It's funny that you don't notice from up here easily that this is actually kind of a fisheye lens until you kind of look around at a certain angle, and you can see that the lens isn't. It's kind of fisheye, so it's quite wide. Another little farm right there, I believe, looks like. I'm going to drop 1,000 feet and see what difference it makes. Let's do a gentle drop in altitude. Another windy river. Another one over here. I don't know if this one's got water in it. That one looks like it does. And I think that one does. Now remember how high we are. That there is a very large field, I think. At least it appears to be. Okay, we're getting down 6,100. $6,020. Let me check the barometer. At 6,000, we're going to change this 2982. It went actually up to 2985, so it gave us an extra 20 feet. Those roads look interesting in color. In Central Oregon, we have a red rock, and so a lot of the roads are red in color. The dust from the roads that gets on your tires and stuff is red. Now there would be a good landing strip right there if I had to in an emergency. Looks like a nice flat piece of farmland. There's Baker Municipal, 14 miles to the north. Again, I have no idea where we're at, except for that we're right on the border. We're only 14 miles, so Medicine Rock. Yeah, we're right on the border to the Dakotas. I think we already followed. Look at that! Isn't that weird? What is that? Are those houses? Hard to say, isn't it? Strange looking. That looks like it's kind of like by design. It goes clear over there. This is interesting. Are those plots that they're selling for housing? If that's the case, then there must be a city close by. Who'd want to live out in the middle of nowhere like that if there wasn't some shopping of some kind? And, you know, facilities, hospitals, schools, government. There's always government. I don't know what that is over there. But we're going to have to move our map to... we've been flying over... south of us is Wyoming. There's Sunny Slope. Sunny Slope. Let's see if I can find that. Weird, I don't see Sunny Slope. It's a town. Go back to the road map, and I don't see it. West Bowman. So there is what appears to be somewhat of a little community. I don't know. I don't see any buildings. West Bowman. I don't see any buildings. Well, there's something up here, but what is it? This is very strange. How these little pods or whatever, this little cleared area. So a road comes out, and there's a cleared area, and a road comes out in a cleared area. But it doesn't look like there's buildings on it. Very interesting. Very strange. All right, so let's see. I'm going to pull up a map of South Dakota. I'm surprised we're not finding weather in the Dakotas. So I see Aberdeen. Aberdeen's about 3/4 of the way across the state. All right, let's see if we... Now, see, there's some weather, it looks like. It's a little deceiving because, like, even right here, we had sunshine today, and it looks like spring until you walk outside and realize it's only 40 degrees during the day. It got down to 34 last night. But I think that we are right on the border between North and South Dakota, and I'm not quite sure which side we're on until I see something that I can identify on a map. Nebo, 2 miles. Nebo. What is it though? It looks like a little town. And I don't see it on the South Dakota map. I do not see it, Sam. I am. I wonder if there's a way that I can select the ability to see things a little further off, because I didn't start seeing that until I was within 2 miles. Now, obviously, if I do that, it might cause a problem with taking up PC power. And again, it doesn't look like a town. I don't see any town buildings. There's what looks like a small neighborhood or a large farm, one of the two. But look, we've got more partitioned land off here. So there's some kind of civilization here because there's two big roads that go through and a bunch of little town roads or county roads, country roads that crisscross this valley here. And some of it still got snow on it. That's weird that there's only snow right here on this field, right on that field, which could happen. It depends where the sun shines at. But some of these places look like pretty good sized farms. There's several buildings clustered together on each of these. Maybe they're, since we're in no man's land, they're all communes. There's a more. Let's see if I can find a more on the map. I just don't see it. A more. Let me pull up a second map or a third map and see North Dakota. A more. Where's the E? Doesn't a more have an E on it? An armor. It's not armor. Map of North Dakota. Bowman. It's not a very good map. It only shows the bigger cities. That's not a good map. Let's go find another one. All right, here's a better one. Maybe. If I can get it to focus in. Yeah, we got some weather. I was wondering. The Dakotas are cold. Closer to the Canadian border. Canada's always cold. Because it's the Great North. Okay, there's Fortuna, but that's north. That's right on the Canadian border. I want south, a little bit further south here. And this is a detailed map, so it's taking a minute to load. There's Gem. Now, isn't that sweet? A little town called Gem. How'd you like to live there? It'd be better than living in Hangtown. I think in one of the western towns was a place called Hangtown. And the first question that people ask is, how did it get that name? What do you think? Somebody was sad and they had their head hung down? I don't think so. Well, they might have been sad. Come on, map. Fill out. All right, there's Bowman. Okay, I saw Bowman. Where did I see Bowman? We are in North Dakota. We're close to the border. Oh my goodness, now that makes more sense. There is weather, and it just took a minute to kick in there. What in the world? That looks like the ocean, but I know it's not. Okay, that makes more sense. Remember when I said I was wondering about the patchy ground? It just hadn't filled in yet. So Bowman is right there, and it's maybe 16 miles. No. How far is it to Bowman? 7 miles. Okay, now the north part of South Dakota, there are no little towns or anything. There's a couple of airstrips, but I don't see any towns on the map. So we are right on the border of. Okay, that right there is Bowman Haley Lake, right? Bowman Haley Lake. What is that? Boyson. I don't see Boyson. There's a place called Scranton and Reeder right ahead. We're on Highway 12 that goes through Bowman. Okay, I don't want to land in this. I wonder what Aberdeen, South Dakota is like. If I'm going to have weather to land in. We'll see. Okay, so if we, I'm not sure. Obviously, we're going to land in South Dakota, so we gotta be going south somewhat, and at some point we gotta cross over into South Dakota. So I'm watching the little towns on the border and see if I can find it. There's one that's closer to the border in front of us called Hettinger, and it's real close to the border. And then there's a town called Lemon that's just east and south of there that is actually in South Dakota. So if we see a place called Lemon, we'll know we're right on the other side of the border, on the South Dakota side. Well, depending on how far it is. Like if it was that one, we'd still be in North Dakota. But what is that? We are actually flying southeast at about maybe a 20 or 25 degree angle, maybe. Looking for any little airstrip, and I don't see it. We just passed that Goldfield. It says Goldfield. That's a town. Let me see if I can find Goldfield on the map. I can't. It must be a little town. Interesting. Isn't that weird that that area over there kind of looks like the ocean, but you know it's not. Right in the middle of the states. No ocean here. Now we get up to the Great Lakes. You might think that's an ocean. Those lakes are huge. The Great Lakes, the waves on the Great Lakes, especially during storms, are not any different than being on an open ocean. What have we here? Haley. It's Haley, and there's two Haley, East Haley and West Haley. Who knows? It's only 2 miles away. I don't see Haley on the map. Let me look at the South Dakota map. The South Dakota map. Nope, I don't see a Haley on that either. But, you know, like I said, these maps are not showing every little town. And that would be a very small place. It's not unusual to find unincorporated towns in the United States. For example, in the wheat country. And again, this would be farming country. You see the fields. There might be a little unincorporated town that there's nothing there except for some grain bins that are owned by a wheat company, let's say. And so there's Hettinger. Hettinger is... Right now I'm lost. Okay, Hettinger is about 8 miles from the border. And it's... So we may be right on the border of the two Dakotas. There's Lightning Creek, which is not on the map. Anyway, yeah, it's not unusual to find in farming country little bitty places that aren't really towns, but they're listed on the maps. I know many of them in central Washington, in wheat country in central Washington, where it's maybe a grain bin, or there may be a fire station in a particular area. Sometimes you'll find a rural fire station. If you think about it, if you have a bunch of farmland out here and there's a fire, what are they going to do? They may be 50 or 60 miles away from a town. So a lot of times they'll form a rural fire department, and it's staffed by the farmers themselves. They take turns as volunteer firemen. Something that's just as important as distance is equipment. It don't do you any good if you're 10 miles away from a fire if you don't have the equipment to put it out. So they will form little rural fire departments and man them by volunteer. I know I've been a volunteer fireman myself in a small town that had a little fire department, but it was no way staffed enough to get the job done. There's Holden. So Holden, again, I do not see on the map. We should be seeing maybe Lemon. If Lemon's on the map, it should be a big enough place. And Lemon, I know, is in South Dakota. I can see it, only by a couple miles. So depending on which side, let's say that was Lemon. If we're to the right of it, we're in South Dakota. If we're to the left of it, by any distance, we're in North Dakota. Which makes no absolute difference to me. It's just that on flights like this, it's kind of nice to make conversation. You know what I mean? Isn't it so funny how the atmosphere changes now that we're over snow instead of bright? We can still have bright sun, but we're over snow instead of green grass. It's just, I find myself getting nervous. All right, there's Hettinger Municipal, and it's to our north. Right, yeah, so there's Hettinger Municipal, Hettinger Township. Okay, we are right on the border because Hettinger is about 8 miles north of the border. So we are in North Dakota because we're no way 8 miles away from there to the south. So we're on the border pretty much for all intents and purposes, and we're heading southward of just a little bit at like I said, 15-20 degrees. And there's the big airport. Looks like one little strip. And what is that? There's Hettinger, the actual town. What is that? Well, that's Hettinger Township. So looking at that, we've got to be right on the border. Maybe this highway here is right on the border. Because that's supposedly 8 miles away from the border, according to this map. There's Ugalaga. Ugalala. and the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation on the southern part of the map. So if we were to look straight south, we would be at Rapid City. Well, just leaving Rapid City. There's a nice little town. See, I can't help. I guess Edinger's got a bigger landing strip than I thought, now that we're close enough to see it. I literally my mind is just going 100 miles an hour when I see stuff like this, because the first thing that enters my mind is, look at that little town. I wonder what it's like. I wonder about the people that live there. What do they do for a living? Is there any kind of industry? Wow, stuff is popping up. Amazing. Amazing. I do wonder about that stuff, you know. This is a game, but that's actual little town somewhere. What is it like? What would it be like to live there? What kind of lifestyle would they have? We got more little dots on the map here. Are these little airstrips? What are these? Are they little towns? Let me look at our flight map. All right, we're going to be flying right over Lemon Municipal. And Lemon Municipal is only a couple miles south of the border. So when we get to Lemon Municipal, we will be in South Dakota. And that means we're about 3/4 of the way to our destination. A little bit. Okay, wait a minute. We're at least 2/3 right now. Maybe 3/4. It's hard to tell, but we're getting closer. There's a little town called Haines. All right, let's go back to our South Dakota map. In actuality, I can get rid of the North Dakota map. I don't need it anymore. Alrighty, so we got our South Dakota map up. There is Lemon Municipal, so we are going to be to the right of that, which means we are in South Dakota. White Butte, and it is white. How appropriate. Claremont. I didn't even see Claremont. So I'm thinking that some of these places that I thought were not inhabited, maybe the game just hasn't drawn the town in. Like there must be a little town there. Now we just flew over that little town, and it took a minute for the town to actually show up. So again, I can't wait to get a new computer that's gonna render this stuff quicker and better and easier. I'm so excited. It's 9 o'clock for me. I'm excited because I'm tired. With the daylight savings time, I've been waking up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, not being able to go back to sleep. I've been getting up at 4 and 5, and sometimes, well, most of the time, I'll dink around till about 8 or 9 o'clock, and then I'll lay back down and get a couple hours sleep and then get back up again. I hate that, because I don't like sleeping my daytime away. And then I may or may not have trouble sleeping that night because I slept, during the day. there is a consolation in that time doesn't mean anything to me in that respect, because I'm able to enjoy my leisure. So life is what I make of it myself. So I try not to let it bother me. That's why I don't mind getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning. If I wake up, I just get up. There's no point in laying there and worrying, oh my God, I can't sleep, and you toss and you turn and you kick the covers and you're in the covers and you're out of the covers. And that is very stressful, so I don't put myself through it. If I wake up at 3 o'clock, now, and again, I've explained this, there are times when you wake up from a dream or from a noise you heard or something, and you may or may not awaken enough to look at a clock. Now, in my case, I have one of those clocks that shines up on the ceiling, so it's easy just to open one eye and look at the clock. There are those times when I wake up like that and you just roll over and you're back to sleep, depending on what woke you up. If it's a bad dream, then, sometimes I have trouble going back to sleep because I don't want to go back into that dream. But on a normal basis, there's many times where you just roll over and go back to sleep. What I'm talking about is when you wake up and your both eyes pop open, and it's like toothpicks are holding your lids up. In those cases, you're probably not going to go back to sleep. You're just going to toss and turn and worry about it and say, oh God, I don't want to get up this early. For me, it's too stressful. I just get up. I get up, get dressed, I read a book, maybe watch a YouTube channel, maybe kick one of my games on. And then if I get sleepy enough after that, after an hour or two, sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's an hour and a half, that I'm pretty sure that I can lay back down and fall asleep, then I'll go back to bed. If it turns out to be 8 or 9 o'clock, then I won't go back there. If I get up at 3 or 4 or 4 or 5, there's Lincoln, South Dakota. Lincoln is definitely in South Dakota. Actually, so is this airport. But anyway, yeah, to me, it puts too much stress on your mind and your body if you fight not being able to go back to sleep. You might as well just get up. And so I do. Now, for me, I don't have to be anywhere during the day, so it just means that, I may have more daylight hours than I wanted to have. I don't like night. I don't like nighttime. I could not be a night person. Well, I shouldn't say that. If I had something to keep me occupied at night, like if I was a young single guy that went to bars and parties and stuff like that, which I wouldn't be because I don't like that kind of lifestyle. But if I was, nighttime might be the thing to be. But the reason I don't like nighttime, it's quiet, very quiet, it's dark, and everybody around you is in bed, your neighbors, your family. Everybody is in bed sleeping because they got to get up, go to work, or they got things to do, and they need their sleep. And I'm just laying there or sitting if I'm still up. It's dark, it's quiet, and that's when my mind starts to wander on stuff that I shouldn't be thinking about. And I hate it. That's when I start thinking of my mortality, maybe people I know and love that have passed recently, or stuff like that. Things that I'm worried about that's happening in the world. You know what I mean? That I can't do anything about, but yet I still think about them and it bothers me and I worry about it when I shouldn't. Very little I can do about some of that stuff. That's what comes to me at night, because there's nothing else to think of. It's dark and it's quiet. Didn't we already go through Lemon? I thought Lemon was over there. How many lemons are there? Interesting. And again, doesn't look like a town though, but maybe it'll fill in. Sometimes your mind is your greatest enemy. I'm so glad that over the years I've been able to sleep with a little bit of music playing. I had to force myself to do that when I worked shift work, because when I was on a nighttime shift, like a graveyard or a swing shift, and I had to sleep at some point during the day, on graveyard shift, I'd have to sleep all day. On swing shift, wasn't so bad. I'd get home at midnight, and I'd at least be able to get, at least 6 hours sleep before noise started to happen. My apartment was above a grocery store on the corner of the building, and the noise of the cars and the people chattering and kids laughing and horns honking and doors slamming, trunks opening and closing, being filled with groceries, and so in the summertime 100 degrees. So I put an air conditioner. I had a window right above my head where my bed was placed in the room, and I would put a small air conditioner there to keep cool, and then I would set a stereo or a radio or something next to me on the bed, and I would crank up a little bit of soft music. Custer Township. Now, I saw that somewhere. Funny, I don't see it on a map. I see Lemon. Must be very small. Hey, there's a place in front of us. We're coming right over Standing Rock Indian Reservation, and to the south of that is Sitting Bull's grave. Interesting. Anyway, over the time, I got used to falling asleep to music, and so that I would put like a record on. This was before CDs, obviously. I would put a record album on, and I would be asleep. I would be asleep before the first song finished, and so I really got used to that. And now I have a jogger's headband that has a stereo system in it and little wafer thin speakers that fit over your ear. Very thin, and it's very comfortable to wear. It's a stretchy material like a sweatband. And the reason I have that is because I don't want to keep Carol awake with my music. And I can start that up, and it's Bluetooth, so I run it from my phone, and I just tell my phone to shut off in 30 minutes, and I'm asleep before the first or second song goes off, because I'm syncing with the song or the music. And I listen to music a little bit different than some people do. There are some people that will listen to a song over and over and over and not realize there's a bongo drum in it, if you know what I mean. When I listen to music, every time I listen to it, I try to pick out something that I hadn't heard in it before. Like, it's amazing how you can do that. There's a song in particular that I'm thinking of. It's a Gordon Lightfoot song, and he has a lot of guitar music in his music, but there's other instruments in there too. And it's interesting. I was listening to one particular song that had a oh God, what horn is that? It's not a trumpet. I think it's a French horn. There's a part in it that's got a French horn in it that I'd listened to the song 100 times and never heard. One night I was sitting there just listening to it, trying to take some of the music and put it aside and listened to some of the background music that was very soft, and I heard this horn. And I thought, that's amazing. I never heard that before. That's kind of how I listen to music. So, interestingly enough, that keeps my mind off of all that nonsense of mortality and shit that's keeping me awake, and I fall asleep easier. That's just me. There's Macintosh. Where are we at, Macintosh? All right, hey, we're really moving across the state here. We're getting closer to Aberdeen. We're gonna have to come south quite a little bit here, because right now Macintosh is still right up on the border. So that's kind of weird. Well, I'm still on my flight plan, so that's looking good. Let me look at my flight map. We are flying at a curve. Let me show you. Prairie View. Oh, that's a cute little place, isn't it? All right, here we go. So as you can see, there's our destination here to the right, Aberdeen. And there we are, the little yellow representation plane. There's Macintosh right to the north of us. And I think that line right there is the border. So as you can see, we're coming in at what, maybe a 15 degree, 20 degree angle. Oh, wait a minute, what's that, McLaughlin? Yeah, we're coming up to McLaughlin, but you can see we're getting close. Now, I'm gonna have to look at this and see. All right, I'm flying manually, so I don't really care where the ILS is. So I am actually not keyed into the airport. I'm keyed into the VOR, which is good, because that means as I come closer to the airport, I'll be more in line. Wow, that was weird. I'll be more in line to turn left here to get to the air strip, if you know what I mean. So I got the airstrip going this way and another one going that way, so we'll be okay. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. I'm getting tired anyway. It's time to end this. You know what I mean? McLaughlin, Aberdeen. Okay. Let's get back to our flight here. Yeah, I'm glad I chose a shorter route. It still seems like it's been a long route. But like I said, it's because I started late. It's 9:30 here, and I've been up since about 5 o'clock. So let me look at my sound program. My sound program, yeah, we're still looking at almost 3 hours. I was hoping that would be a little bit shorter because it's a couple hundred miles less than it was the other night. So what I'm going to probably do with the next leg is look at more of a 400-mile trip. Maybe a 3.5, 400-mile trip. I'm trying to get it down to around 2 hours. And interestingly enough, I'm not too worried about the flight recordings that I'm making. If I was playing any other game, I'd be concerned about a 3-hour video. I'm not with this, because it is what it is. It's a flight. I have to be in the flight to get from point A to point B without crashing. And I'm seeing parts of the country I've not seen before. And it's not the kind of game that you just do a half hour of and, wait for the next episode. It doesn't work that way. And I feel this way. If somebody watches the first 15 minutes, wonderful. If they watch 2 hours, wonderful. If they watch all 3, oh my God, more power to you. God bless you. But it doesn't really matter, because I'm getting the enjoyment out of the 3-hour flight and seeing things I've not seen before. And so I don't really care. It's not that kind of a game, if you know what I mean. And I don't want to sound contrite about it. It's not that. It's just that I'm getting the enjoyment and entertainment that I need out of that 3 hours. And if somebody wants to get a little bit of enjoyment out of 15 minutes, great. I'm glad. So I don't worry about the time so much. Although, like I said, on this kind of trip, I can stop anywhere. I can stop at the next airport. There's not a problem, because I've got this small plane. It'll land anywhere, pretty much, and I can land anywhere I want. So I'm thinking that, from the first trip I was about 900 miles, and I thought, well, if I drop it down to 700, I'm going to gain a lot of time. Well, obviously, I didn't, because I'm looking at 3 hours again. So, on the next leg, I'm going to look at more of a 400, and we'll see how long that takes. And if that's still a little bit too long, I'll drop it down to 300 and see if I can get around that 2-hour mark. Now, when I started this, I debated whether to have the plane completely ready to go at the start of the trip. There's Bullhead. Where's Bullhead? Yeah, see, I don't see it on the map. It must be a small place. And that one was... Where's the other one I just saw? McLaughlin. All right, I see McLaughlin. Yeah, we're heading south. There's something called the Leavenworth Monument. We're on U.S. Interstate 12 between McLaughlin, which is a town. There's a town, and Mobridge. And when we get close to Mobridge, well, let's see. Actually, we're not gonna see Sitting Bull's grave. It's south of here, and I don't go down that far south. We're gonna actually be south of or north of Mobridge even. And then there's Selby, North Dakota. That reminds me of Shelby, Montana. There's a town called Bodle, B-O-W, like a bow and arrow, D-L-E, Bodle. There's a Roscoe, an Ipswich. There's something called Prairie Rock, close to Aberdeen. See, now, what would be fun is, and I'm going to start doing this. I need to start on the next trip. I've flown over some interesting things. And I keep saying, gosh, I wonder what that looks like up close. And you know what I'm going to start doing? On the next trip, I'm going to start a little bit of a notebook, of a journal. And if I see something interesting, I'm gonna jot it down and write down like the coordinates or the distance to the nearest little airport. And I'll come back and fly to it and get out with the drone camera and get a good look at it. Like Sitting Bull's grave, there's got to be a monument there. Right beyond that is Sakakawea Monument. There's a monument for Sakakawea right next to Sitting Bull's grave. Now, when I was a kid, it was Sacagawea. I have a hard time saying Saka, whatever it was, Sakakawea. I heard it directly from the Indian reservation. They used to say Sacagawea. So I don't know. It's debatable. It wasn't their tribe, so maybe they were wrong. I don't know. Does it really matter? If I say Sacagawea and you say Sakakawea, we both know who I'm talking about. So what's the point of correcting somebody and making them act like they're stupid? You know what I mean? I try not to do that. It's not always that easy. But when, like, for example, during one of my live streams, if somebody types something in and they have a typo, it doesn't bother me at all. And they'll retype it, and I'll say, you didn't have to do that. I knew what you meant. But it really bothers me when somebody finds the need to correct somebody for such a little thing, when the whole point of the conversation is communication. And I knew what they were meaning. They knew what they were meaning. Everybody else knew what they meant. Why correct their grammar? Is it because you're superior, or you feel that you are? And some people will say, well, I just want people to learn, you know. Okay, fine. But you're not their teacher. You're not their parent. That kind of thing bothers me. I'll tell you, in another part of that, it really angers me, and it's happened to me during either videos or live streams, where somebody that comes in and English is not their first language. It may not even be their second language or their third. And so their grammar's a little off. And somebody will make a comment like, God, that guy's an idiot. Where'd you go to school, moron? That kind of bothers me, because to me, oh man, I hit some turbulence there. That bothers me because to me it was obvious this person is not his language. Especially, you know, if you look at the name of the person, you can tell they're not English or English speaking. And I always say to them when something like that happens, I say, don't worry about it. Your English is better than my French, or you know what I mean? No, don't worry. All of us can understand what you're saying. You're doing very well. You know, much better than I would do if I was trying to talk in your language. But it just angers me when people are that arrogant. So I cut people a lot of slack when it comes to grammar and stuff like that. And my biggest problem, if it comes to that, is typos, because I'm trying to either type too fast or the keyboard is off away from me a little bit and I have to lean over and my fingers are hitting the wrong keys and stuff like that. That's what happens to me a lot. And I know it happens to everybody else too. So I figure everybody knows what they're trying to say. What difference does it make whether they spelled the word wrong or not? I got a comment in a video or a live stream the other day where a guy spelled the word great, and he meant G-R-E-A-T, that, oh my God, you're doing great. Then the other great is there's a steel cover over that hole in the road, and it makes a very good grate. Okay, so that's how he spelled it when he meant to say, you're doing great. And sure enough, somebody had to point it out. Wow, how silly are you? You don't even know how to spell great. What? Why? What did that do for you? Did that really make you feel like you're a college professor or something? Not that college professors are always smart. I've known a lot of dumb college professors. What was that? Mobridge. Mobridge. Where's Mobridge? Oh, we're only 13 miles from Mobridge, so we just flew over the Leavenworth Monument, and I didn't see it. I was too busy yapping. Oh, well, we're getting close. I'm going to have to pay attention here. Mobridge, let's see. We got, I don't know. What do we got left? Where are we at here? I can't tell. Hard to tell. I'd have to add up a bunch of little numbers to get the distance. I don't know if my other little plane map shows me. Let me see. It looks like we got another 30 minutes to go. My God. Yeah, I definitely gotta cut the distances down. There's a little airport in front of us. We're going to be closer to it than we are to Mobridge, called Selby Airstrip, something like that. There's Mobridge. There should be another one popping up right in over here called Selby. I can't really tell from the map if it's really an airport or not, though. Maybe just be a landmark, maybe. God only knows, and he's not talking. And I'm not walking. So I watched a Netflix special today with Chris Rock, and I'm not really into that kind of humor. And the kind of humor that I'm talking about is, I don't know what the proper word would be, filthy talk, dirty talk, that kind of thing. It's just not my kind of humor. Although some of the stuff he said I thought was funny. I don't think he needed to use the words that he used to make his point. But beside the point, I decided that when I told Carol about it, I said, what you should probably do is watch maybe the first 10 minutes and then watch the end 10 minutes, and you'll get the 2 points that he's trying to make, and the rest of it is all filled with just, you know, effing this and ending that, the N word over and over and over, and the F word over and over and over, the C word over and over and over. And I don't need that. I mean, some of the stuff was funny, but it wasn't funny enough for me to get over the language. And I'm no prude, but I know that there's a lot of words in the English dictionary that can describe what you need to say without using the F word. Anyway, the first 10 minutes to me was funny and interesting, and it's funny because a lot of the social, the SJ warriors and the woke stuff and the social stuff today, in a way, if it wasn't so sad, it would be funny that people even act or think that way. But the first 10 minutes were pretty much showing the absurdity of the cancel culture and the social culture of today, and how unnecessary it is, and how strange it really is. And it was, what his point was in the first 10 minutes of this was a little bit of, you know, I don't care what SJWs do or woke people do or any of the other things that are going on in our social structure nowadays. I don't really care. What he says, what does upset me is when somebody says something that maybe they shouldn't have said, or maybe at the time they said it, it was a different era, and they could get away with saying it, but now they can't, but they deserve to be canceled because of it. And the thing that he said that really upset him wasn't necessarily the fact that they got canceled or bullied. It was more the fact that what that person got canceled and lost his job and was bullied for, somebody else does, and it's okay if he does it. And that's happening quite a little bit. And that's what his whole point was in the first 10 minutes of his comedy routine, was pointing out the absurdity of some of that. And then, of course, the 10 or 15 minutes of the end of his routine is all about Will Smith and the fact that he got slapped during the Oscars. And man, does he go after Will Smith. It was kind of awkwardly funny. South Campbell. Is that any relation to Glenn Campbell? Funny, I don't see South Campbell on the map. I don't. What's over there? Can't tell. South Campbell, huh? Must be a very small place because I don't see it on the map. What's over there? Selby Airport. Okay, remember I told you about Selby. So let's see. That'll give me an idea of where we're at. Let me pull up my flight map and we'll take a look. Okay, so yeah, we still have a ways to go. There's a Skyhawk flying around me. Doesn't give his altitude though. It shows my altitude at 58. What am I really? I'm supposedly at 6,000. Let me check my barometer. I want to get that straight before I get there. My barometer right now says 29.85, and it just changed to 29.86, so it's okay. Hey, look, we've got frosty farmland. Frosty the Snowman. So I'm thinking that we're going to have to land in snowy, icy airstrip. I hope it's not too bad. This plane is pretty stable. I should be okay. I'm going to use my flaps to get me slow enough so that if I do slide, I don't have to slam the brakes on too hard. This plane can land on pretty short space, so I should be okay. I was shocked at how little runway I needed to land this plane on a regular basis on a dry airstrip. All right, I'm going to shut up for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to sneak out and sneak back in. You'll never know it. miss me? Wait a minute, you didn't know I was gone. Oh, maybe I should check the fuel. I think we're fine, but oh, we are getting a little low on fuel. We'll make it. But yeah, that's weird. Isn't that weird? I went 900 some miles on the last trip, the last leg, and I didn't have any trouble with the fuel. And this is only 570 miles, and I'm down to less than a third of a tank. That is weird. Maybe I've had to fly through a little more turbulence, or maybe I've had the throttle too tight or something. I don't know. I just don't know. Oh well. Where are we anyway? What's that over there? I can't tell. Oh, goodness. Tomorrow's Wednesday, isn't it? I got to get the garbage out tonight. It's garbage day tomorrow. It's 5 minutes till 10 o'clock at night. I got to remember that before I go to bed. Remind me, will you? I don't think that's going to come into focus for me. All right, I can pretty much tell what's coming up. We just passed Selby, didn't we? Yeah. All right, what do we got coming up here? Selby, we're getting closer. We've got another little airfield off to our right coming up. TC Field, whatever that is. It's a small little runway, just one little strip, I think. Let's see. All right. We got 27 miles. This little airport is 27 miles to our destination. So we're probably about 50 miles out. At a minimum, maybe 60. And let's see, we've got, what is the name of this? It's in the city of Ipswich. And state and local, South Dakota, Ipswich, elevation is 1,500 feet. It's 4.8 to the east. It's got aprons, taxiways, and parking. The runway is soft, so it must be a grass field or a dirt field. Oh, wait a minute. That's a different airstrip. That's something called RAPPE. Rapey Field. The one that I'm looking at is TC Field in the same location. And it has taxiways, parking, and fuel. And it does have a hard runway. So there are two little airstrips here. One soft and one hard. And they're real close together. We don't fly straight over it anyway. It's one of these off to the side here. Just a little bit of nonsense, municipal. nonsense of what that is, what that is, what that is over there. Look over there, look over here. What do you see? I'm getting punch drunk. I need to get to bed. I'm tired. Let me check my blood sugar. Let me take a quick look here. Oh, I'm doing fine. Fine. Perfect, as a matter of fact. Good enough to get through the night. Sometimes I have to pay attention at this late at night, especially depending on how low it is, whether I need to have a little bit of something to snack on before I actually lay down. Nothing worse than getting woke up at 3 or 4 in the morning with this alarm going off and having my blood sugar be so low that I can't see straight. That's happened a few times to me, probably more than I should have. I always keep a little container of grape juice or a candy bar, depending on how low it gets. If it only gets down a little bit low, then I'll just eat the candy bar, and it'll take a little bit of time for the sugar to hit my system. If it comes down a little bit more dangerously low, I'll drink some liquid, like grape juice or orange juice, and that hits me right away. As somebody asked me one time why I talk about stuff like that, and I said, well, there's plenty of people out there. Somebody might be listening that is also diabetic or knows somebody that's diabetic, and sometimes I might say something that they didn't know or, is of interest to them. And it's always good to find out that somebody else in the world is like you, even if it's health-wise. And when I first started live streaming, I was told by big shots, you never talk about personal things. They're not there. They're there to be entertained. They don't care about you. And I thought to myself, well, I care about them. Why wouldn't they care about me? I want to know. And you guys that watch my live streams, how many times do I say, hey, how you doing today? What are you up to? What are you doing? What'd you do yesterday? How's the family? I'm truly interested in that kind of stuff. Otherwise, you're people to me. You're not just a subscriber. You have lives. You have families. You have things you're afraid of, things you're interested in. What's the whole point of trying to communicate with somebody, even if it's a video, that you don't care about? It doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, there's the air place, that field over to the right there that keeps popping in and out, that TC field. That one is the one that says it's got a hard landing strip. Adrian. Hey, there's Adrian. That's a little town. So there's another little strip over here that's got a soft. Maybe it's this one over here. On the map, they're going to look like they're the same location because of the distance. Okay, so it looks like the airstrip that I'm looking at is going to be similar to the one I did the other night, where I need to come in and make a right turn to line up to it. What is that? Okay, that's the same place. There's the other place right there. So they are real close together. And one of them is a dirt. The rapey is a dirt and the other one is a hard tarmac. TC Field it is. I'm anxious to get on the ground. I'm pretty tired. Rosette. A rosette. We're getting close enough I can get excited. Oh, we've got some clouds. Oh no. I need to be able to see the land. I don't have instruments set up at all. Oh boy. This might be fun. Because it looks like it gets pretty thick up ahead. We're already down to what, 6,000? Holy smokers. I'm getting scared now. Alrighty. Well, this first cloud bank is not worrisome. It's that other one up ahead that looks really thick. Might be getting a little concerned over that because we're getting pretty close. We're only about 20 miles away. Or closer. Bearing and distance to user aircraft, 4.7 miles. That's that little airport I'm looking at. Let me see if I link onto this airport. 25 nautical miles, and we'll be there. There's Bell. Hi, Bell. Yeah, this fog bank is nothing. Maybe that other one will thin out by the time I get there, because this one looked pretty thick from a distance, and it's not bad at all. So maybe that one's not bad. Maybe it's not as bad as it looks from this distance. What I may have to do is I may have to fly directly over the airport to get a bearing as to which direction to line up on. So we'll find out when we get there. It will be interesting. See what it looks like from the cockpit. Let me sit up a little bit. Looks pretty scary. It's a big enough airport that it's got ILS. It does have a glide slope, and it's got a couple runways. I'm looking at the runway that doesn't have the glide slope. So I guess we'll just wait and see. I still have a ways to go. Man, that cloud bank looks thick. Barber Field. Okay, yeah, we're getting close. I'm coming in at an angle to where I want to be. So I'm going to, let me check the barometer. Okay, the barometer went up a little bit. Let me bring this down to 4,000. I'll bring it down kind of slow. Jump up here, sit up a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm looking at this angle. We're coming right here, and it looks like the strip goes at this angle. So I may have to get down where I can see the ground. Oh my God. It's kind of scary. All right, we're at 5,000 feet, 5,100. Whoa, man. This is frightening. Remember when I said I was worried about hitting bad weather? Well, it's not bad weather, but it's like coming in to a can of Campbell's soup. Oh my goodness gracious, I cannot see the ground. And I'm 4,400 feet. My, and I'm getting very close. All right, I'm going a little bit fast. I need to back off a little bit. And we're at 4,000 feet. I'm going to cut the autopilot and take over the controls. And let's come down slowly. And see if I can... Holy smokes. Aberdeen Regional. I cannot see the ground at all. And I'm dropping 3,000. $2,500, $2,400, $2,500. There's 24. Oh my goodness. I can't see anything. Okay, I'm 1,900 feet. Oh my God. Whoa.
Stall.
Holy crap. Is there an airstrip there? Holy moly. I don't see any lights or anything. I just don't know. I'm on the treetops, and I don't see any lights. There are no lights. I mean, really seriously, I can't see. There's an airstrip below me. Okay, I got to get out of this soup. This is not good. And I've got iced up here. I'm iced up. Okay, let me get out of here. I gotta get out of this soup. Oh man, when I saw those trees, I thought, oh my God.
Stop.
All right, I've got to do something about the speed. I don't have enough speed to climb anymore. Bring the nose down, pick up some speed. I'm at 3,000 feet. Pick up some speed. Try to get out of this fog. Okay, I'm getting close. I can see blue sky, but my windshield is frozen. Okay, let me get up out of this soup. And there's another airport to the right of me. I don't know if it's any better. If I can get up here so I can see. That fog's going for quite a while here. I may have to turn around and go back the way I came. There were a couple little airports. That TC field that I was talking about, I may have to go back there. So I don't see it going away this way. So let me turn around. And try to head back to that other field. I'm trying to climb. I'm at 5,000 feet. I should be okay. But I need to get turned around and head back to that other field that didn't have fog. Man, we were lucky. I should have pulled off when I got down to 1,000 feet and I couldn't see the ground. I should have climbed out of it then. But I really thought that we would see the runway lights. And I never did. Never did see the runway lights. Holy moly, that was scary. I think that might be the closest I ever came to crashing. I mean, a serious crash. There's no way I could have landed. You saw there were trees all around that strip. I would have slammed into a house or a tree for sure. All right, so I'm going to head back to TC Field, and we should be able to see it on our map. Keep coming around. I need to come around some more. I need to cross my old path, my old flight plan. I need to cross it. So let me get around here. And I'm hoping, I didn't pay attention when we passed that, but I don't remember seeing the fog over that other airstrip. But the fog may be rolling, I don't know. Well, that woke me up. All right, the other two airfields, there's a dirt one and a solid one, and it should be straight ahead. So I'll just clip these clouds until it comes into view. We should be heading straight before. There's a barber field, but that's still, yeah, that should be to the right of us. Okay, the barber field's to the right of us, which means those other two are right directly in front of me. Unless they're down in the fog. Please, please be out of the fog. There's another little one. Excuse me. There's a couple little ones closer. Well, not close by, but around the area. There's a Hoven Municipal that's got an 1,800-foot runway, and then there's one south of us. It's south of the two that we're flying towards, called Falkton, and it's got a 1,500-foot runway. The TLC field looks like it's got a 1,500-foot. And believe it or not, the dirt field has a 2,400 foot. I don't need that much. I'd rather not land in the dirt, although I could. Wow, we're up to 9,000 feet. I don't need to keep climbing. Let's pull her down a little bit, cut the speed a little, just a little. And we should be heading right straight for those two fields. Unless they got covered by the fog. God, keep your fingers crossed that they didn't. I don't know what direction that fog bank was headed. I'm hoping that's not it. There was a little town that I flew over that I remember saying I didn't see that on the map. Maybe that's what I'm looking at right there. There's the two I'm looking for. Up there. We're heading straight for them. They were farther away than I thought. Now the runway on TC Field looks like it's running north to south. So we can be off to the right or off to the left, doesn't matter, I don't think. Which way I come into it. Find out when we get there. And now I can't see it. Where'd it go? Oh, I hope that's not it, because it's covered in fog. What's this? I don't know what that is. We're heading back down in the fog. Get out of the fog. All right, I think those airports that I'm looking for are out of the fog. They may be in that wispy fog that we had before, if you remember. Maybe. It looks like it's right on the outskirts of that. But, hey, we're coming in. We're coming in. We're coming in hard. I guess it doesn't matter where I spend the night, does it? As long as I'm down safe. I wanted to be in a little bit bigger airport, but if it's not safe, it's not safe. Okay, that's our airport, and it's not in the fog per se, but the field does run north and south, so I'm going to have to come at an angle. I wish it would quit disappearing on me. Okay, let's see. Where are we at here? Okay, so now I've lost it. I want to be coming from the south because I don't want the sun in my eyes. Because the sun's off to the left here. Sun's that way. Yeah, so I want to be coming south. So let's come down through this cloud bank here and see if we can get on the other side of it, south side of it. Watch my speed. I'm going to drop, so keep my speed down a little bit and cut the throttle. Well, this was exciting, this weather. I knew it. If you remember, I said, I think, I don't want to, but I think there might be some weather on the other end. The only reason I was thinking that is that because it's the Dakotas. They seem to get cold weather here. And winter is not over yet. It's coming into spring, but it ain't spring yet. It ain't sprung. Spring has not sprung yet. All right, we should be maybe 15 miles. Now, which one am I looking at? Am I looking at the furthest one away? Or what's that one? Dang it, I wish it would show up quicker. Okay, that's someplace called Fountain. All right, so that's our airport over there. Good to know. Maybe there's a good restaurant in Fountain. All right, whoa, that was a little bit of turbulence. I've got all my lights on, and thank goodness the frost on the windshield went away as soon as I got out of that fog bank. Now I got to determine which one of those is the airport that I want. Not the airport, the strip, if you know what I mean. I may land on the only one I see, so we'll find out. I was curious when we flew over them because on the map it shows them in the exact same location. It lists a TC field. It does not list the RAP field until you really zoom in on it on the spot, and then it splits them up like they were right next to each other or something. So we'll find out when we get there. I don't really care which one I land on as long as I can line up to it correctly and get myself down. We may have to make a trip around it. Okay, I'm getting close where I can kind of turn in. I don't know. Let's get a little bit of an angle here. Cut the throttle a little. Okay, there's a little bit of a town there, but where's the airfield? Okay, this is looking good. This is looking good. All right. All right, now I didn't quite get lined up, but let's see what we can do. The one on the left must be the dirt one, and the one I'm coming down on is the tarmac one, I'm guessing. Uh-oh, I'm off. I'm hitting a little bit of wind. Dang it, it's pushing me. Man, I kept having to. You can see there's frost on the windshield. It's cold, but man, something was pushing me. We got down okay, but something was pushing the snot out of me. All right, let's slow her down, slow her down, slow her down. Let's get this thing turned around. Yeah, I got ice on the windshield, so it means there's ice on the wings as well. Okay, I'm not able to turn sharp enough. Were you scared? Now, interestingly enough, it's that windsock isn't showing a lot of action over there, but something was pushing me. Maybe I had the ice on the wings or something. But we made it down, and the landing wasn't half bad. I didn't get lined up till the last minute. But we did get lined up. We did land on the tarmac. And this is a little bitty strip, isn't it? It's like a sidewalk. The wind is blowing, but it doesn't... I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. We're down now. So... Is that a catering truck? What? Hey, we got food. It is. It's a catering truck. Holy smokers. We're down, ice and all. We are down, ice and all. Safe and sound. We made it. Hey, there's a jet flying overhead. There's Ipswich. All right, everybody. It's been a long trip. I'm going to shut the thing down and head out and get a little shut-eye. And then we'll start planning the next leg of our trip. I hope you had fun. I hope to see you then. Ta-ta for now.